My name is Mark Reynolds. I'm 36, a financial consultant in a city big enough to have traffic but small enough that you still recognize the guy who makes your coffee. I've always liked routines. Same gym 3 mornings a week. Same sandwich shop on Wednesdays. Same quiet dinners at home, especially on Tuesdays when the world feels beige and predictable. That night was one of those Tuesdays. Salmon on our plates, brown rice, roasted asparagus that was starting to sag on the pan. Kelly had lit 2 candles on the table out of habit more than anything else. We used to make a thing of it. Lately, it was just background. She was talking about work, and I was only half listening in that comfortable married way, hearing enough to nod, not enough to replay it later. Jason scheduled another last-minute meeting, she said, cutting her salmon. Guy lives in chaos. Jason? I asked. New supervisor? She nodded, rolled her eyes. Jason Clark. Came in from the San Francisco office. Big ideas. Bigger ego. I smirked. Your type. She laughed. Please. He's intense. The kind of guy who thinks he invented Slack. We traded these lines easily. This was familiar ground, her venting about tech, me playing the straight man. I reached for my water, glanced at her phone lying next to her plate. Face up, notifications lighting the screen every few minutes. Still blowing you up after hours? I asked. Work chat, she said. He's like a golden retriever with a laptop. I chuckled. At least he's not boring. She paused, fork halfway to her mouth, watching the steam rise off the salmon. Then she tilted her head, gave this little smirk I'd seen 100 times when she was about to say something edgy. Honestly, she said, I've been kind of fantasizing about him lately. She said it lightly, like it was just another joke tossed across the table. The word hung there, fantasizing, a little louder than the rest. I laughed. Automatic. Reflex. Damn, I said. Poor old Mark getting replaced by tech bro Jason. She grinned, eyes on me, gauging my reaction. Relax. It's just a fantasy. People do that, you know? I played along. Is this where I pretend to be threatened and hit the gym more? You already hit the gym, she said. You're fine. It's harmless. She said it in that reassuring, sing-song tone. I nodded, picked up my fork again, pretending the conversation had already moved on. What's he look like? I asked, mostly to show I wasn't rattled. Tall, dark hair, confident, she said, shrugging. You know the type. Office crush material, I said. Fantasy material, she corrected with a small laugh. Relax, Mark. Every married person has fantasies. I'm telling you, that means we're healthy. I remember actually feeling relieved by that line. Healthy. If your wife could say that out loud, it had to be safe, right? I told myself honesty was a good sign. Only solid couples joked like that. We finished dinner. I rinsed the plates. She scrolled her phone at the table, thumb flicking fast. I didn't think much of it. Not enough, anyway. Later, we watched some forgettable show. She leaned against me. I felt normal, stable. Tuesday. But when the lights were off and the house went quiet, that one sentence replayed. I've been kind of fantasizing about him lately. I told myself it was nothing, that I was being insecure, that we were fine. Still, it stuck in my head like a sour note in a song I'd heard my whole life. Not loud enough to stop the music. Just enough that, for the first time, I wondered if I should be listening closer. The joke about Jason didn't fade. It just got quiet and moved into the background, like a low hum you only hear when the room goes still. 2 weeks later, the hum had a pattern. It started with running a little late tonight. A text at 5:37 p.m., the first time she'd said it. Jason needs help with some slides. Don't wait up for dinner. I stared at my phone, thumb hovering over the screen, then typed back, got it. Be safe. That was it. No fight. No suspicion. Just a small adjustment. Then a little late became normal. 2 nights that week. 3 the next. Always the same script. Meetings, deadlines, last-minute revisions. Jason needed this. Jason wanted that. Jason was apparently allergic to planning during business hours. She'd come in around 10 or 11, kick off her heels by the door, and head straight for the shower. Long day, I'd ask from the couch. The longest, she'd call back. Already halfway down the hall. I probably smell like the office. She'd laugh. I didn't. Not really. It was the clothes that got me first. She started dumping everything directly into the washing machine, jacket, blouse, bra, all in one motion. Like she was trying to erase the day as fast as possible. You can just leave it, I said once. I'll do laundry tomorrow. It's fine. She shot back a little too quickly. I'm already here. Her phone changed, too. It used to live on the kitchen counter, charging, half forgotten. Now it moved with her. Face down on the table. Face down on the couch. Carried into the bathroom when she showered. One night, it buzzed next to her while we were watching TV. She flinched, grabbed it, and turned the screen away from me like she was blocking a punch. Work? I asked. Yeah, she said, eyes flicking over the messages. Nothing big. I didn't push. I just watched the way her jaw tightened. Then came Thursday night. She kissed my cheek at 6:30 p.m., dressed a little sharper than usual for just staying late. Big investor deck, she said, grabbing her bag. Jason's freaking out. I might be really late. How late? I asked. Midnight? 1. She winced. I know. I owe you a real dinner soon. Text me if anything changes, I said. I will, she answered, already halfway out the door. I made myself a simple dinner, answered some client emails, went to bed around 11, the other side of the mattress cold and untouched. I checked my phone once, no text. Told myself she was busy. Told myself grown adults work late. Told myself a lot of things. I woke up to the sound of the front door unlocking. The clock read 3:04 a.m. I lay still for a second, letting the fact sink in. 3 in the morning. Not midnight. Not 1. 3. The door clicked shut. Heels off. Whispered cursing as she nearly dropped her bag. I swung my legs out of bed and walked down the hallway. The house dark except for the small light above the stove. She froze when she saw me in the living room. Hey, I said, voice calm. Too calm. Long night at the office? Her hair told the story first. Messy in a way that didn't look like overtime. Her makeup was smudged under her eyes. There was a faint smell riding under her perfume. Not mine, not hers. A woody, expensive cologne that didn't live in our house. She tried to smile, but her eyes flickered, just for a second. Guilt, fear, calculation. All of it flashed and died in a heartbeat. Yeah, she said, dropping her purse onto the chair. I'm so sorry. Jason completely melted down over this investor presentation. We had to redo half of it. Until 3 in the morning? I asked. She nodded too fast. You know how these guys are. Last-minute changes, endless feedback. I should have texted. I just got buried. I held her gaze steady. Were you really working, Kelly? That landed like a weight between us. She swallowed. What else would I be doing? I didn't answer. I just let my eyes move. Hair, makeup, the slight redness on her neck, the wrinkles in her blouse that didn't look like been at a desk. I'm going to take a quick shower, she said, her voice tightening. I feel disgusted. Can we talk in the morning, please? I'm dead. I stepped aside. Sure. Morning. She slipped past me, almost flinching at how close we were. The bathroom door closed. Water started running within seconds. I stood alone in the living room, staring at the door she just disappeared behind, breathing in that faint, unfamiliar cologne. Suspicion wasn't a shadow anymore. It had weight, smell, shape. On the surface, I let her have her shower, her bed, her sleep. Underneath, something solid shifted. The benefit of the doubt snapped in half. I didn't know every detail yet, but I knew this much. Whatever line she'd been dancing on, she'd crossed it. And there was no way back to harmless fantasy after 3:04 a.m. The morning after the 3 a.m. return, the house felt like a stage after the actors left. Same furniture, same walls, different air. Kelly moved fast, like speed could erase the night before. I might actually get home on time today, she said, pouring coffee into a travel mug. No eye contact. Jason's out with clients, so it should be calmer. I watched her from the other side of the island. Must be nice, I said. She gave a tight smile, kissed my cheek, and told me she'd text. Then she grabbed her bag and walked out the door like nothing was wrong. I stood at the window, hand on the curtain, and watched her car turn the corner. That used to be a comforting sight. Today it felt like the end of something. I sat down at my laptop, opened a spreadsheet, and stared through it. Numbers I usually read like a second language looked meaningless. I closed it. In the search bar, I typed, Private Investigator Marital Infidelity City Name. The results popped up. Discreet, confidential, professional, affordable, surveillance, photos, video, reports. Phrases I'd heard in movies, never thought I'd need in my actual life. I skimmed reviews. I looked at star ratings, checked how long they'd been in business, who mentioned court-admissible evidence, who mentioned cheating spouse. My chest felt tight, but my hands were steady. I settled on one Dawson Investigations. Simple website, no flashy graphics, just a photo of a man in his 50s in a plain office, tie a little loose, eyes like someone who'd seen too much and stopped being surprised. I called. The receptionist put me through. This is Frank, a calm voice said. I think my wife is cheating on me, I answered. I need proof. No gasp, no awkward pause, just a pen clicking. Come in this afternoon. 2 o'clock. Bring anything you think matters. His office was downtown, on the second floor of an old brick building that used to be a bank. The waiting room was small, clean, and anonymous. The kind of place you could walk into and out of without anyone remembering your face. Frank Dawson looked exactly like his photo. Late 50s, maybe early 60s, gray at the temples, solid shoulders that had gone soft but not weak. He shook my hand firmly, then motioned to the chair across from his desk. Tell me what's going on, Mark, he said. I slid a printed photo of Kelly across the table. This is my wife, Kelly Reynolds. She works at a tech company on the east side. New supervisor, Jason Clark. She jokes about fantasizing about him. Now she's out late. Showers the second she comes home. Clothes straight into the wash. Phone glued to her hand. And last night she came in at 3 in the morning smelling like someone else's cologne. He didn't flinch. I just started taking notes. Does she know you're here? He asked. No. Do you want her to? Not yet, I said. I want the truth. Not a story. Not tears. Proof. He nodded once. We specialize in this. Surveillance, photos, video if needed. We document patterns, locations, times, who she's with. You'll get a full written report, plus digital files. How long? I asked. Give me 10 days, he said. Could be sooner, but in 10 days I'll have something solid. One way or the other. He slid a contract across the desk. The number at the bottom was high enough to sting. I picked up the pen without hesitating. This is steep, I said, signing my name. But I can make more money. I can't make more time. I'm not wasting any more of it guessing. Frank gathered the paperwork, clipped it together, and looked me in the eye. Most people who walk in here already know, he said. They just need it on paper so they stop lying to themselves. I stopped lying to myself at 3:04 a.m., I replied. Now I just want the kind of truth that shuts every argument down. He nodded once. No comfort, no pep talk, just professional understanding. As I walked out of his office, I realized what I'd done. I hadn't just hired a private investigator. I'd officially moved my marriage from trust to evidence. And there was no going back from that. Those 10 days felt longer than the 7 years we'd been married. Nothing in the house technically changed. Same bed, same couch, same kitchen. But the roles were different now. She was living her version of our life. I was watching a controlled experiment in dishonesty. Frank checked in twice. Short texts, timestamps, surveillance active tonight. Got movement. No details. No conclusions. Just reminders that somewhere out there, A stranger was watching my wife while she thought she was getting away with something. At home, I played my part. "How's work?" I'd ask over dinner. She'd shrug. "Busy." Jason's still in panic mode. "We're drowning in deadlines." She said it like we were on the same team. Like we meant her and me, not her and him. Our dinners turned mechanical. Fork to plate, plate to mouth. Chew, swallow. The conversation was thinner than the steam on the food. She stayed on her phone between bites, screen tilted away, fingers moving in quick, private bursts. "You're on that thing a lot lately," I said once. "Everything's urgent," she replied. "It's just work. Don't be paranoid." That word, paranoid, landed harder than she knew. She still came home late 3 or 4 nights a week. Same excuses, same script, same rush to the shower, dumping her clothes straight into the washing machine like she was destroying evidence. At night, I lay awake next to her, listening to her breathing. She slept like a rock. I didn't. I watched the ceiling and wondered if she could feel the distance growing, or if lies just numbed that part of her. Part of me wanted to blow it up right there, shake her awake, demand answers, but I'd made a decision in Frank's office. Emotions later, evidence first. On the 10th morning, my phone buzzed at 9:13 a.m. "Frank, I've got the full report. Can you come in today?" My stomach nodded, but my hands stayed steady. "Be there in an hour," I replied. The drive to his office felt unreal. Traffic lights, billboards, people crossing streets. All the normal stuff looked fake, like someone had painted a city over a life that had already ended. Frank's door was open. He was at his desk, a thick brown envelope in front of him. He didn't waste time. "It's all in here," he said, sliding it across to me. Photos, locations, times, written summary. He hesitated for half a beat. "It's explicit. I can walk you through it if you'd rather not see everything." I put my hand on the envelope, felt heavier than it should have. "No," I said. "If I'm going to end a marriage, I'm not doing it based on someone else's description. I need to see it myself." He nodded once. "Then you should take your time with it. This kind of truth doesn't go away after you open it." He was right. Life before that envelope was already over. Now I was about to see exactly how she'd killed it. I didn't open the envelope in my car. I didn't tear it open in the hallway like some panicked teenager. I waited until I was back in Frank's office, door closed, his blinds half drawn against the afternoon sun. I sat down, set the envelope on my lap, and just looked at it for a second. 10 days of my life, condensed into paper and pixels. "Whatever's in here," I said, mostly to myself. It was already happening before I saw it. Then I opened it. The first photo was tame, Kelly and Jason walking out of her office building together. Daylight, regular work clothes, people around. She was smiling. He was leaning in a little too close. His hand hovered low on her back, just shy of contact. Next photo, different night, darker. They were at the parking lot near the office, standing close beside his car. Her head tilted up, his head down. The kind of distance where you don't need audio to know the tone. I kept flipping. There they were, pulling into a motel I recognized from driving past 100 times. Cheap place. Monthly rates on the sign. Rooms with doors that opened straight to the parking lot. The camera angle shifted between nights, but the story stayed the same. His car pulling in, her car already parked or arriving a few minutes later. Them meeting in the shadows like it was a routine now, not a mistake. Time stamps on the bottom corner of every photo. 7:42 p.m., 8:09 p.m., 10:56 p.m. The nights she'd been fixing presentations. The nights she'd come home exhausted and too tired for anything but sleep. Then the closer shots. Them standing at the door to the room, his hand clearly on her lower back this time. She is leaning into him. Their faces turned just enough that, in one frame, their mouths were on each other. My jaw tightened. My hands didn't shake. I just kept flipping. The written report was clinical. Dates, times, locations. Subject Kelly Reynolds met subject Jason Clark at motel name. Entered room 214, remaining approximately 2.5 hours. Over and over. No drama, just a pattern of decisions. Halfway through the report, something new. A different hotel downtown. A 3-day marketing conference she'd told me about, complete with a printed schedule she'd left on the fridge. Frank had attached a note. No such conference was held at this location on listed dates. Hotel records show reservations for Jason Clark and Kelly Reynolds. Separate bookings, same floor, overlapping stay. There were photos of them at that hotel too. Checking in, grabbing drinks at the bar, walking to the elevator shoulder to shoulder. Her smile in those shots wasn't professional. It was familiar, intimate, practiced. "Where'd you get the messages?" I asked, my voice low. Frank slid a stapled bundle over. "Internal chats. I have a source in their company who pulled logs once we confirmed the affair involved company resources. Names removed, but context is clear. They weren't graphic in the physical sense. I'd seen worse language on the internet. What made them hit was the planning. The lies. I'll tell him it's a late meeting. He buys it every time. Conference weekend will be perfect." My name was reduced to a problem to solve so their schedule stayed clean. At the end, Frank added one more sheet and one more photo. "Thought you should know this too," he said. The photo showed Jason in a grocery store, standing next to a visibly pregnant woman. A hand resting on her lower back the same way he did with Kelly. The note under it read, "Emily Clark, wife, 7 months pregnant. Verified through county records." My stomach turned, not from jealousy, but from scale. This wasn't just my life he was wrecking. "His wife knows?" I asked. "Not yet," he said. "That's up to you." I sat there for another minute, looking at the pile of proof spread out across Frank's desk. Motel doors, car kisses, hotel check-ins, chat logs, a pregnant wife who had no idea she was sharing her husband with my marriage. "How do you feel?" Frank asked quietly. "Clear," I said. "I feel clear." That night I went home, printed the worst of the photos, the motel, the kiss, the hotel bar, and laid them out one by one on our dining table. Same table where she told me, smiling, about fantasizing over her boss. Same table where I'd laughed like an idiot. I made coffee, sat down at the head of the table, turned off all the lights except the one above us. When I was done arranging everything, there was no room left for plates, just evidence. I checked the time, listened for her car, and waited for the sound of her key in the lock. I wasn't guessing anymore. I wasn't asking. I was done giving her the benefit of the doubt. Now I was giving her the truth. I heard her key before it turned. Light footsteps on the porch, the rustle of her bag, the same evening routine she'd been pretending was normal. I didn't move. I just sat at the head of the table, coffee cooling beside me, photos spread out like a crime scene she created. The door opened. "Hey, babe," she started, humming some song under her breath. Then she saw me. Then she saw the table. Everything in her face shut down at once. She froze, hands still on the doorknob, eyes locked on the photos. Her and Jason entering the motel, her leaning into him at the car, the hotel check-in, the kiss. "Come take a look," I said. My voice stayed steady, not cold, controlled. Her bag slipped off her shoulder and hit the floor. She walked toward the table like she was approaching a cliff. "Mark, I can explain," she whispered, fingers trembling as she picked up photo after photo. Her breathing went shallow. 2 seconds in, she was already shaking her head. "It's not what you think. It's, God, this isn't fair." "Fair?" I asked. "Which part? The motel on Tuesday? Or the one on Friday? Or the conference you invented?" She winced like each line was a slap, but I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. She scrambled for words. "I felt alone. You've been so distant. And he made me feel wanted. I didn't mean for it to go this far." I sat back in my chair. "You didn't mean for it to keep happening for months? With hotel rooms, fake conferences, and a second life you built behind my back." Tears slid down her cheeks, fast, messy. I was stupid. I was overwhelmed. I didn't know how to tell you I needed more. You told me, I said, at dinner, when you called him a fantasy. I just didn't realize you were giving me the warning shot before pulling the trigger. She covered her mouth with her hand, crying harder now, shaking. Mark, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't think. That's the problem. I cut in. You didn't think about me. Not once. I let the silence settle. Then I slid one final photo across the table, Jason with his pregnant wife. Her crying stopped instantly. She stared at it, confused at first, then horrified. What is this? She asked. That's Emily Clark, I said. Jason's wife, 7 months pregnant. He didn't tell you that part, did he? Her knees buckled. She had to grab the back of a chair to stay upright. Pure shock. Not guilt. Shock. He said he was divorced, she whispered. He told me. He told me he'd been single for over a year. I nodded once. He lied to you too. Congratulations. You weren't special. You were convenient. She swallowed hard, staring at that photo like it broke something inside her. And here's the part you really won't like, I said. I sent everything to Emily. All the photos, all the dates, all the details. She deserved the truth, just like I did. Kelly's head snapped up. You had no right. Truth doesn't need permission, I replied. You wrecked her life the same way you wrecked mine. She deserves the chance to clean up the mess you helped create. She opened her mouth to argue, then shut it. There was nothing left for her to say. I stood up, picked up my keys, and walked toward the door. Where are you going? She asked, voice small, broken. Away from this, I said. You'll be out by the end of the week. My lawyer will contact you tomorrow. Don't call me. Don't text me. Handle the legal side like an adult. Mark, please. But I didn't turn around. I stepped out of the house, leaving her standing there in a room wallpapered with her own decisions, sobbing over the life she wasted and the man she underestimated. And for the first time in a long time, the night air felt clean. Once the truth was out, everything moved fast. Faster than I expected. Faster than Kelly could brace for. Emily Clark didn't waste a second. The moment she had the photos, she confronted Jason, kicked him out, and filed for divorce with the precision of someone who knew the law better than he knew his own lies. She went straight for alimony, assets, and every advantage his infidelity handed her. On my end, I sent HR a clean, organized package. Misuse of corporate funds, falsified conference paperwork, supervisor, subordinate misconduct. No commentary, just evidence. The investigation hit them like a hammer. Both Kelly and Jason were terminated for cause, no severance, no reference, no soft landing. Their names circulated through the industry in whispers. Doors closed before they even knocked. Legally, my path was simpler. My attorney saw the photos, nodded once, and told me the settlement would lean my way. It did. I kept the house, the majority of assets. No drawn-out negotiations, no guilt bargaining. Kelly signed the papers quietly, hands shaking, looking like the affair had aged her a decade. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt resolved. The consequences weren't revenge. They were simply the truth doing its job. Recovery didn't come in a rush. Came in small, steady pieces: work, routine, sweat, quiet. I threw myself into my consulting business, taking on new clients, tightening operations, expanding in ways I'd put off during the marriage. Every win reminded me I wasn't defined by what she did. The gym became my anchor. Not some dramatic transformation, just consistency. Weight on the bar, breath in my chest, strength returning one rep at a time. Friends I drifted from pulled me back into their orbit, and I let them. I'd forgotten how grounding simple conversation could be when no one was lying to you. The betrayal didn't disappear. Some nights it still stung, but I stopped letting it steer the wheel. I wasn't trying to erase the past, just outgrow it. That's when Megan entered the picture. A colleague I'd grabbed coffee with a dozen times before noticing how steady she was. No games, no weird energy, no hidden agendas. Just calm conversation and genuine interest. I didn't chase anything. I didn't force anything. I let it unfold slowly, naturally. This part of my life wasn't about replacing Kelly. It was about becoming the man who didn't need anyone's validation to stand tall again. 6 months later, I was sitting in a quiet cafe near my office, reviewing notes before a client meeting. It was an ordinary morning, the kind that feels solid under your feet. Then I looked up and saw her, Kelly, alone in the corner, laptop open, coffee untouched, looking smaller than I remembered, tired, worn, like life had been chewing on her since the day I walked out. She noticed me and stood, hesitating before walking over. "Mark, hi." "Kelly." Calm, neutral, no heat left in the ashes. She studied me, healthier, clearer, steadier, and I could see the realization hit her. I was better without her. "Are you okay?" she asked, voice cracking. "I am," I said simply. When Megan walked in and waved, Kelly's face shifted. Understanding, loss, consequence. "I'm sorry," she finally whispered. "I regret it every single day. I ruined everything." "I believe you're sorry," I said, "but it doesn't change what happened. You turned a fantasy into reality instead of telling me you were unhappy. That's on you." She nodded, eyes wet. No excuses left. "I wish you the best," I told her. Not as a line, just truth. Then I stood, walked toward Megan, and didn't look back. That chapter was closed. I was the one who closed it.